Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be talking about remote recording, which is a topic that I've been thinking a lot about recently as I've been working on a project with a friend who lives in Singapore. Just a few years ago this would have been absolutely impossible, but it's incredible what you can do now. Let's talk about it. I've been doing a fair amount of work the last few years recording and producing other musicians, and usually what that entails is I'll go over to their house with my recording gear and we'll set up and record for a few days. I'll give them feedback as we record and try and get the best possible performances out of them. Then I'll go home, edit it together, and before long we're on our way to having a proper recording. So my role in that situation is twofold. It's partly technical, keeping an eye on mic position and mic technique and all that sort of stuff, and partly personal. I'm coaching to get the best possible performance out of the artist. So to make that work remotely, we're going to have to talk about both of those aspects. Let's talk about the technical first. So we're going to be proceeding with two main assumptions. Firstly, that you have some experience of DAWs and recording other people, and secondly, that your client has a basic recording setup enough to cover what they're going to be doing, be that vocals or guitar or keyboards or whatever. As far as your client's recording experience goes, they're just going to need to be clicking record and stop, and that's about it. Anything else you're going to be able to coach them through. The main thing they're going to need to work on before the session is getting their recording space set up, and I'm going to put some links down in the doobly-doo about how to get that properly dialed in. Okay, so software-wise, you're going to need two things. Firstly, you need to be working on the same DAW as each other. I'd suggest Reaper, not only because it's free to try, but also because it's just the best DAW I've ever worked with. And secondly, you're both going to need to download a plugin from Audio Movers called Listen To. I'll put a link in the description. You're going to need to make an account at Audio Movers because it's a paid service, but there is a free trial period, and even after that it's very affordable and it doesn't auto-renew. Okay, with all that done, it's now time to set up your project files. You're going to need to keep these in a cloud service like Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive or whatever. It doesn't really matter which one, so long as you've got enough storage space. Your project files are going to need to have an instance of the Listen To plugin on the master track. And then you just need to make sure that your project file is as clear as possible for your user. So make sure that your recording tracks are labeled clearly, that the sections of the song are laid out, and any tempo changes programmed into the click track. And if possible, maybe also program in some MIDI guide tracks just to make it clear what's happening in the song where. And lastly, as your client's going to be the one pressing record, make sure you set up a good long pre-roll so that they have maybe 4 bars to go from pressing record to being in front of the mic ready to perform. Okay, so it's the day of the session. You've got your client on a video call, you've been chatting for a bit to put them at their ease. This is going to be a novel situation for most people, so it's worth taking some time at the beginning. When you're ready to start, send them over the login details for your Listen To account and get them to share their screen. And then they're going to need to open up the project file. At this point, it's probably worth walking them through checking the audio device settings for their machine to make sure that the right audio input is going to the right recording track. For the tech support part of this, if they're struggling to follow your instructions, it might be worth using a program like TeamViewer to take control of their computer and check these settings yourself, but make sure you turn it off afterwards, as these programs can eat up a lot of bandwidth. Next, they can go to the Listen To plugin, put in the login details that you gave them, and click Start Stream. Once that's going, they can click Copy Stream Link and send that to you in the video chat. You can then click on that link and it'll take you to the Listen To web server where you can listen to the audio output directly from their master fader. Once you've confirmed that you're able to hear the audio output from their DAW, including the input monitoring on their recording track, you're ready to start recording. At this point, you should probably go back to your video call and switch off your camera to make sure that you're not using up unnecessary bandwidth. The client should probably also mute themselves on the video call to make sure that you're not hearing them twice, once through the video call and once through Listen To. Of course, if you're not recording with a mic, like if you're recording electric guitar or keyboards, you might want to keep that call unmuted just so that they can talk to you as well as you talk to them. And now you and your client are ready to start recording. They're going to be the one clicking the actual record button, but other than that, everything's going to proceed as normal. You listen to them, you get the best takes out of them that you can, and once you're done, all of those files will be sitting waiting in your Dropbox. Now, because all of this is going to be coming over the internet, let's talk about a few things to get the best possible connection. If at all possible, both of you should be plugged directly into your router rather than using Wi-Fi. Also, you're going to want to schedule your recording for a time when other people on your network aren't going to be using lots of bandwidth, like streaming or working. And lastly, as we're going to be recording to the cloud, you probably want to turn off file syncing on your cloud service just to make sure that it's not trying to upload the files while you're recording. Once you've finished your session, you can switch that back on. And that's about it for the technical side of things. If there's anything I've forgotten to mention, just let me know in the comments below. Okay, now putting all the tech to one side for a moment, let's talk about the personal side of things. Because all of that extra technical faffing around and the lack of actual physical presence in the room, it's probably going to take a little while for your client to get into the swing of things, so just be patient and be ready to be just like 15% nicer and more effusive just to get over that weirdness barrier. Similarly, because you're not in the same room and you can't see them, it can be harder to gauge your client's energy levels, so just check in regularly. In my experience, singers can sometimes push themselves too hard out of impatience to get the best possible takes and end up forgetting to take the necessary vocal rest and water breaks and things like that. So make sure that you're taking regular breaks to keep yourself fresh. And the same goes for you. It can be really tiring to try and maintain that level of attention, so you need breaks too. So please let me know if you're going to give this a try. I'd love to hear what kind of projects you're working on, what kind of problems you ran into, how you overcame them. I'd particularly like to hear if you've got any tricks for overcoming that weirdness barrier of doing this over the internet. And please do let me know if you'd like to see more of this tutorial style content on here. I've been getting back into music production work quite a bit recently, so there's plenty to talk about if you're interested. And lastly, if you'd like to support this channel, the best thing that you can do is to share this video with someone you think might benefit from it, and maybe subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with what I'm putting out. Okay.